Three, two, one.
Hello everybody, ignore the horrendous lighting in this video. It's just a quick introduction to say thank you for your patience as I was not able to upload last week. Today's video is really graphic. I just wanted to come on and give a face-to-face introduction to say thank you so much to everybody who supported me recently, and also to give you a very big warning that this case involves a child and it is one of the most graphic cases I have ever covered. Oh my god, this case is awful, and frankly the outcome of it shocks me. But yeah, without further ado, I will be discussing the terrible child abuse of Nia Glassie. I will put up so many trigger warnings in the next slide so you are fully aware of everything that this video will include. Please, please, please do not watch if you think you will be affected. If you choose not to watch this video, do not worry, I will see you next week with a new video. I hope everybody is staying happy, safe, and healthy.
Nia Marie Glassie was just 3 years old when her life was brutally ended. Nia was born on the 20th of March 2004. She was described as a shy little girl. She lived with her 3 older siblings and their mother, Lisa Michelle Kuka, in Rotorua, a city in the North Island region of New Zealand. Kuka was 34 years old at the time and was a single parent, dating the then 17-year-old Wiramu Curtis. The couple and the children lived in a small 3-bedroom home, along with his brother Michael Curtis and his girlfriend Orawa Kemp, and Nia's cousin Michael Pearson. I know many people don't like this, but I'm going to give a little bit of background into the people that Nia was living with. Lisa Kuka, her mother, was the 17th child out of 19. A former primary school teacher said that the family did not have a lot of money, however, they seemed a nice family. Her older twin sisters, Louise and Linda, looked out for Lisa. Allegedly, the girls weren't very bright, however, Lisa was a bubbly, silly, giggly little girl, yet she turned into a cold woman whose life revolved around men. She had her tubes tied after Nia, but by the time she dated Wiramu Curtis, she had 5 kids. When she was dating Wiramu Curtis, Nia's father, Glassie Jr., was living in Sydney, Australia. Wiramu was 16 and fresh out of high school when he started dating Kuka. He was described as a slow learner. Both sides of the family disapproved of the relationship. William, the father of the brothers, and their mother were separated. William admits that he brought Michael up in the same way that William was brought up. He was hard with him. The father was in shock when he found out about Wiramu's relationship with Kuka, as she was old enough to be his mother. William said that many people told Wiramu to finish the relationship, as he wasn't ready to raise kids and had dreams of his own. At just age 12, Orawa Kemp went to live with Michael Curtis, where she entered a life of drugs and violence. She gave birth to her first daughter at the age of 14. At this time, she was dating Michael Curtis, who is 4 years older than her. Kemp had 5 children and was in and out of jail. In court, it was said that Michael had abused Kemp. I could not find much information on Michael Pearson, only that he is Nia's cousin. I am now going to be talking about the abuse that occurred. I want to give one final warning, as it is so triggering and just horrific to listen to. Nia had been subjected to horrific abuse from the beginning of March to the end of July 2007. For some reason, the brothers didn't like Nia and thought she was ugly. It was strongly believed that the group carried out the horrific acts on the little girl as a form of entertainment and to ease their boredom. Both brothers were unemployed, and the group who lived at the house did drugs and partied. The abuse took place when Nia's mom was at work and also when she was there. Wiramu and Michael kicked Nia repeatedly in different areas of the house. When she bled, they did not care and just kept going. Michael Curtis lifted Nia up to the ceiling and then dropped her. Wiramu and Michael put Nia into a dryer after Michael Pearson came up with the idea. One of the children in the home pleaded with Michael Pearson not to do it. However, they were told to shut up. The dryer was a Simpson with a small round door, 28 centimeters in diameter. The dryer got very hot when drying clothes. Nia managed to kick the door open, however they shoved her leg back inside. She was in the dryer for about 30 minutes. On a different day, Nia was crying, so instead of caring for her, the brothers in Kemp put her on a clothesline and spun her as fast as they could so that she would fall off. She fell off 3 times onto her head, and then she was submerged into an ice-cold bath. The abusers were all laughing when the abuse was taking place. Pearson performed wrestling moves on Nia, which he learnt from the PlayStation 2 that Weeramoo had stole. The wrestling moves were similar to SmackDown v Raw. The defense lawyer suggested that the wrestling was just a bit of fun that got too rough. Nia also had burn marks on her head and feet that were a result of being held over a fire. Nia was shoved into the garbage, folded into a sofa and sat on, left on top of the roof of the house for hours, chased naked around the house, left outdoors for hours in cold temperatures. They once shoved her in a sandpit half naked and threw a basketball at her and other objects like wood. They then dragged her through the sandpit, causing friction burns on the lower half of her body. She was jumped on, slapped, spat on. The list just goes on, and the abuse just kept intensifying. They would turn up the radios so the neighbors wouldn't hear Nia's cries. They then watched DVDs and got prepared for Michael Curtis's 21st party. Before the party, the brothers kicked Nia in the head multiple times. This is what caused Nia's death. When Kuka came home from work, she and another woman went out, leaving the Curtis brothers, Nia, and another child in the house. Allegedly, Nia was okay when they left, but when they came back, she was floppy, had wet the bed, and wouldn't wake up. Nia, quote-unquote, slept the rest of Friday and all of Saturday and Sunday. She was left for 36 hours before the mother got medical help. Nia was left dying in her bed whilst the group partied all night celebrating Michael's 21st. Nia learned to whimper sometimes instead of crying because she knew if she cried she would get abused. What makes this case even more infuriating is most of the family members and neighbors were aware of the neglect and abuse inflicted on Nia, but decided against informing the authorities out of the stigma of narking, which just means snitching. On the other hand, some of the witnesses and neighbors even deemed the violence to be typical. A neighbor who saw Nia being swung on the clothesline expressed regret for not reporting the instance, saying, "I feel partially responsible in some sense that maybe she would have still been alive if I had rung the police that day, because not too long after she passed away." I need to honestly keep recording this because I'm getting so annoyed, but for future, you are not being a snitch if you are reporting abuse, whether it's child abuse, domestic abuse, or any sort of crime. You're not being a snitch. You're literally being a decent human being if you report a crime that you witnessed, or even if it's an allegation or assumption, you don't know what that could uncover. Be nosy, make it your business, and if you see something or hear something, report it. The abuse came to light on July 22nd, 2007, when Nia was admitted to a local hospital by her mother with serious abdominal injuries and a brain hemorrhage. At first, Kuka claimed that her daughter had sustained these injuries after accidentally falling off Weeramoo's shoulders. The medical team attending to Nia determined that the injuries were not a result of a single instance. She was transferred to Starship Children's Hospital in Auckland after her condition did not improve. A hospital worker overheard Kuka on the phone saying she saw Nia being thrown against a wall. Lisa said to the caller, "Hang on a minute, it wasn't me." She then said, "I saw it happen. I saw it. I was there. He put her head between his legs and hit her on the floor 3 times and then threw her against the wall because she was ugly and didn't listen." The caller was not identified in court. Allegedly, whilst Nia was dying in hospital, Lisa went out clubbing with her friends. I can't actually believe that a mom would even say that about her child so blatantly and then go out clubbing. Nia was in hospital on a ventilator. Her brain injury that was left untreated for 36 hours was so severe that parts of her brain tissue had already died. Nia passed away on August 3rd, 2007 due to her injuries. It was discovered that if Nia was brought to the hospital as soon as she fell unconscious, she would have survived. When the police went to the rented home, the place was covered in filth. Inside the home was an absolute mess due to the 21st party. There was half-eaten food, a broken table, empty bottles all over the ground, and a baseball bat leaning against the wall. The brothers, Kemp, and Kuka's 19-year-old nephew, Pearson, were all charged with assault. The father of the Curtis brothers, William, was also charged with assault and injuring with intent to cause grievous bodily harm for the abuse of Nia. He allegedly pulled a scarf around her neck until she went purple and then threw her on the ground. However, he denies this. There were also several other accounts of abuse that he did to Nia. Kuka was charged on July 30th. A total of 6 people, comprising of 4 adults and 2 minors, were charged with the assault of a child. Throughout the 4-week trial, the defendants were seen laughing, whispering, and appeared bored. They also made poor attempts to appear intimidating towards reporters. The only time they showed emotion was when they heard each other's statements, and that they had all placed the blame on one another. The trial ended on November 17th, 2008. Wiramu and his brother Michael Curtis were convicted of Nia's murder and were sentenced to life imprisonment. They are not eligible to seek an early release from prison until February 2025. The guilty verdict was delivered after 11 hours of deliberation. Nia's mother, Lisa Kuka, was found guilty of 2 counts of manslaughter, one for purposely not seeking immediate medical attention for the injuries, and another for her failure to protect Nia. She was sentenced to just 9 years of imprisonment with a chance of parole. Whilst at prison, Kuka worked as a wing cleaner, and her attitude and behavior worsened, and she was stubborn with authorities. Kuka was released from prison on October 16, 2017, after finishing her sentence. She is currently on parole, and the parole board classified her as a medium-risk offender. She is strictly prohibited from consuming any alcohol, drugs, and non-prescribed medication, as well as communicating via media outlets, be it through radio, television, or social media. Kuka is discouraged from forming intimate relationships and contacting friends and family. She is also not allowed to have contact with children below the age of 16 without the permission of her probation officer. Michael Pearson and Orwa Kemp were not convicted of manslaughter, but were instead found guilty of child abuse and cruelty charges. After being released, Kemp said that she was not a monster for her involvement in Nia's murder, as it happened during a rocky period in her teenage years. Her 5 children were removed from her custody. Kemp hopes that she can become a Maori teacher and get her kids back. Michael Pearson was back behind bars in March 2019 and was sentenced to 20 months in prison for a robbery. Nia's father, Glassie Jr., chose not to attend the trial. The 3 other siblings are living with the dad and grandparents and are allegedly thriving. In 2009, the song Nia was released by New Zealand songwriter Maisie Rika. Nia would have been 18 years old when this video was filmed. I don't like to usually put my personal opinion, but no matter how strict your probation is or how much you're trying to reform yourself, or wherever you are now, you still have more of a life than Nia did. Her life was savagely taken away from her, and she experienced something that no human being or living thing should ever have to endure. My thoughts are really, really with Nia's family, and I really hope that the 3 children are doing well and healing. I hope everyone that hears about this case or that is currently watching this video is okay. Please take care of yourself, and I hope everybody is staying happy, safe, and healthy. Thanks so much for watching.